So, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Turn 5 podcast. It's just me and Ben this week, as Chris has, quote, unforeseen family things, and Nia is being a delinquent and celebrating her birthday late. Like, unacceptable.
Carrying as per.
Yeah, I know. Me and you, mate, with a cornerstone of this podcast.
Yeah.
This week, we're obviously going to be talking about the Belgian Grand Prix and the upcoming Netherlands or Dutch Grand Prix, and all of the action from F2 and F3. Should we start with the qualifying debacle for Formula One?
Yeah, start with quali.
I mean, it was kind of interesting, but kind of pointless at the same time.
Yeah, it's just...
It felt like we had almost two different qualifyings going on.
Yeah, it's trying to work out who's starting where.
Yeah. And I feel like it almost would have benefited from running separate sessions almost. Like, here's the session where everyone who has decided to take engine penalties decides which order they go in, and here's the session for everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like maybe that could have sorted it out a bit more viewer friendly ish. But yeah, it was quite amusing to try and keep track of like who was going to qualify where, but at the same time, not ideal for the casual viewer.
No, we had the Leclerc master stroke in Q3 as well.
Oh god, yeah, the wrong tires. Nice. We'll do the lap anyway. Oh, brilliant.
That's a great idea. Sainz can get a toe, so Leclerc, you're on fresh
tires, idiots. And that put him out of sequence, and he didn't even get a second go. So it was just an absolute mess. But oh god, that wasn't even like the worst mistake of the weekend from Ferrari's perspective, was it?
It's just the start. Yeah. Then your Daniel got out in Q2, which was underwhelming again, probably.
Yeah, it was close, but
it's close, but it's like it's one of them where you had to pretty much go through, because then he'd be, I know, even though he started 7th already, it was just
he probably could have beaten Albon. Then again, the Williams was an absolute rocket ship in a straight line.
Yeah,
so
McLaren.
So that's going to be my one to watch for Monza. Williams, but specifically Albon, because he seems to be. I mean, we saw it in the race. The last 20 laps was just Albon keeping Lance Stroll behind him, even though Stroll had DRS and Albon didn't. So yeah, madness going on at Williams with the setup. They are definitely running 1-1 wings. But yeah, qualifying was a bit nuts. Max qualifying over half a second ahead of the rest of the field from the garage. There was a lot of tweets comparing it to like prime Vettel when he got pole position from in the garage as well. I mean, he didn't need to go out, obviously, but because Ferrari had messed it up with Leclerc, and that was the only car that he was trying to be in front of, wasn't it? So at the end of the day, it didn't matter if Sainz leapfrogged Max for the pole position or not, because Max was always going to start at the back. It was Leclerc that they were bothered by, and when they'd done the maths and realised Leclerc's not going to get out for a second run, they just went, "Just get out of the car if you want, mate." I mean, it kind of left Perez out, like no toe. So, but at the same time, you know, job done from Max's point of view.
Yeah, it's easy for him.
Yeah,
he's chilling in Q1 and Q2, and then he's upset. All right, let's ramp it up Q3.
Interestingly, though, I feel like if that had been the other way around, Perez would have been sent out to give Max a toe, but that's none of my business. We all know it would have happened.
Probably.
So yeah, once
Didn't
once all the penalties were decided, and actually not even until quite late in the day, because there were overnight penalties applied as well, and then Gasly had an electrical issue, so didn't get out of the pits in time. It left us with a rather amusing stat of Valtteri Bottas qualified P20, received 30 places in grid penalties, and started the race in P13.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like one of those really completely jacked up maths questions.
Yeah.
20 plus 30 equals 13. Show you're working.
And then as Max is start at the back of the grid, you're starting P14, mate.
Yeah. Welcome to the back of the grid, the lower midfield. So, but yeah, I feel like the comments from, because like they asked Christian Horner why they elected to do it at this race particularly, as against any of the others, and I feel like his comments were quite interesting. He was like, obviously you don't want to do it at Zandvoort because it's a very narrow track and it's difficult to overtake. So, it doesn't matter how dominant Max's car is going to be next weekend. If you're at the back, you're going to be, limited.
Yeah.
And interestingly, he said that Spa has a lower overtake delta than Monza does, which I didn't really expect. I always, because in my head it's always, it's Monza, it's the turn one dive bomb. That's just always been the case. I feel like this year might be, because obviously they're going off data from probably like simulation runs of this year's car, but also previous year's data. I feel like because Parabolica was such a trickier corner with the amount of aero wash you got from the last generation of cars, maybe we'll see a change in that this year.
Yeah.
And we'll see more turn one dive bombs. Because the cars should in theory be able to follow around Parabolica much easier. So
but then going around the first chicane would be more of a struggle.
Yes, because the cars are clumsier at slower speeds. So it could be interesting considering the amount of, you've got the two chicanes and Ascari.
You might actually see some moves into Ascari coming off Cosmo 1 and 2.
That would be interesting. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a move down into Parabolica as well. Just because, why not? But yeah, slightly off topic. It was more the comments that this race was supposedly the easiest to overtake, and by Jove, did he overtake?
Yeah, didn't take him long.
No, I know the laps are long and there's not many of them, but it was like what, lap 12 that he was in the lead.
12, and he was in the lead. Yeah.
I mean, obviously pit stops hadn't played out at that point, but then it was like lap 15 or 16 that he'd legitimately got into the lead, even on strategy. So
it's ridiculous.
I could see points from Christian's perspective that were very truthful, it seems.
Just on another planet.
Yeah. I mean, the technical directive that apparently was going to help bring Mercedes back into the fight has done nothing except propel Red Bull further up.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we can't really say it's actually the technical directive or whether it's the work that's been going on over the summer. But to be honest, I haven't really heard much about what updates were brought by teams.
No idea.
So, yeah. But Ferrari have not come out of the summer break well at all.
No, the worries have very much been making true, in which they might struggle a lot.
They're going to struggle a lot.
Considering you had a George Russell in America that wasn't the quickest this weekend, and he's finished 2 seconds off Sainz. Even then, he made a mistake, so he could have got third.
Yeah. It was just a scruffy weekend from a Ferrari perspective.
Never won.
Yeah, slightly too many in all. I think this is what Max's 9th win of the season.
Yeah,
which is nuts. Um, I, we could potentially be looking at someone breaking Vettel's 9 races in a row record.
maybe.
It's on the cards, isn't it?
Yeah, it still depends how good Ferrari are in the like lower straight tracks. I don't and the higher downforce tracks, like Zandvoort and whatever.
Yeah,
like maybe Singapore.
Yeah, I mean Ferrari have gone well at Singapore before,
Yeah,
but I feel like Zandvoort is definitely a Red Bull stomping ground.
yeah.
Not just because it's Max's home race or anything, but you know they went exceptionally well there last year.
Yeah, and then they've sort of that was when they were on the higher downforce though, and then sort of this year they've gone more towards power.
Yeah, but they definitely still have the higher downforce setups available to them. We saw that in Monaco. The size of the wing they brought was massive.
It's true.
But yeah, I feel like we could be in the middle of the new record of race wins.
What is it? Like,
it's 9 wins in a row is the record.
What's the record amount of wins in a season?
That is a good question, and I don't know.
I want to say it's around 14.
It's got to be somewhere near there because, I mean, if you get 9 in a row, you've won other races in the season, surely.
13.
Was it, Seb?
Yes, it was in 2013, and then I want to say it was joint with Schumacher, but I'm not certain.
I don't even know if they did 13 races.
No, Schumacher's joint with Lewis with 11.
Yeah, there were a lot less races.
Max should probably beat that with ease, and then with Vettel it'd be 8 races left.
Yeah. I'm just going I just need to think about this. Hang on, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3. So Max has won the last 3 in a row. So he's already on 3, and there's 8 left.
There's a very high possibility.
And the ones coming up, I mean, Netherlands. I mean, he was the bookies' favourite to win this week, even though he started 14th.
Going into the race, I knew he was starting at the back. Yeah, he's favourite.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got to be the bookies' favourite for this weekend.
Yeah, but
he's probably the bookies' favourite for every weekend, surely.
Yeah, he will.
I mean, so coming up, right? So we've got the Netherlands. I think unless that some divine act of God happens, he's going to win that. Then we've got Monza, Singapore, Suzuka, Kota, Mexico, Brazil, Abu Dhabi. Mexico, that Red Bull's going to be like a rocket ship. Red Bull have always gone well in Mexico. I don't see a race there that Red Bull can't win, which is probably the scariest bit. We could be looking at 12 in a row for the record.
So stupid.
And if it carries on next year, it'll just extend the run, won't it?
The only one I'm concerned about is Monza, and that's only because their recent past at Monza hasn't been great. But then they're just next level this year. So.
Yeah, I mean, last year they smashed with Lewis.
Yeah.
So, that's what happens when you're racing with someone rather than 2 seconds up the road. A la Fernando Alonso's comments. So once the grid had finally decided to sort itself out, and the back of the grid was the Haas tweet, by the way, was absolute top banter. The back row of the grid with 9 cars on it. Loved that. But yeah, once that had started, I mean, we saw all of the new gravel traps for the MotoGP renovations that had gone on. I think it looks fine. I don't think there's any particular problem with the source or the gravel trap there, or the reprofiling of Eau Rouge. I think if anything,
Nice.
getting rid of the sort of the bump at the bottom, it's probably made it safer, just in terms of car control. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, considering the amount of incidents we've had there that have resulted in quite serious injuries or indeed death. So yeah, by all means, reprofile it. The grandstand looks amazing. I would love to have a seat there.
That'd be incredible.
I don't care if I didn't particularly see any overtakes. Sure. What a view. But yeah, so the teams, well, the drivers obviously knew that they couldn't run wide like they had done in previous years at the exit of La Source, for fear of being beached. And
one car did get beached.
Yeah, not at La Source though. I mean, they did quite a good job. That was incident free at turn 1, unlike previous years we've seen. But then it was turn 5. It was turn 5 where the incident unfolded. Thanks, Fernando. Love that. Entry into the Les Combes chicane, and Hamilton pulls out, tries to overtake Alonso, and chop.
Blind spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite understandable. Yeah. But at the same time, you know he's going to be there.
Yeah.
It's Fernando. He's not going to give up that place. So you can say it's a blind spot. You're like, oh, next year they've got bigger wing mirrors, by the way.
Wow.
So whether that'll mean that incidents like yesterday don't happen or not, we'll find out. But I mean, you've seen it before when like Brundle or someone's gone round in a classic car where you can literally see everything from like chest up of the driver, and the driver can do like a full 360 in the car, whereas now they're like hunkered in and you can just about see maybe half their helmet. I know it's for safety, but at the same time it does create blind spots, as Hamilton has alluded to, and other drivers have alluded to, especially with the bigger wheels. They've said that they can actually see even less of the circuit now, which is supposedly why we had so many track limits violations at Austria, because they couldn't actually see where they were. Get good. You're paid enough, get good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to overtake around the outside, don't chop across that violently.
Space.
Yeah. And all the people commenting and comparing it to other incidents, Fernando was all over the inside curb because that's where he was forced to go. There was no more room for him to go any further right.
Unless he wanted to go in the wall.
I mean, he would have been on the grass, but then he would have just skidded back across and hit Hamilton anyway, you know? So it all would have ended in the same thing. But when people are trying to compare it to like the George Russell Sergio Perez incident at Austria, it's like, no, that's a different kettle of fish, because Perez had given George ample room on the inside.
Yeah, the closest one is probably Hamilton and Rosberg.
Yeah,
2014 or 15, something around then.
Yeah, I mean, there are obviously going to be comparisons made, but at the same time, the ones that people are making are
ludicrous.
Yeah. You can clearly tell which kind of bias people have from the suggestions they make, and how ludicrously wrong they are. For speaking from a not Mercedes or Red Bull viewpoint, yeah, bit daft. I feel like we're about as neutral as we can get from like those two fan sets butting heads.
I'm just like, I don't care about either of you.
Like, I'm
just
not
leave me
fussed.
alone. I'll stay away from you.
Honestly, it's probably the best way, isn't it? Just
the 12-year-old little kids just chatting on.
Yeah.
I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the bugger off.
But it did lead to a absolute gem of a piece of team radio from Fernando. I will quote it for those who missed it on the broadcast or didn't see it or just want to hear it again. It's, yeah, what an idiot. Closing the door from the outside. I mean, we had a mega start, but this guy only knows how to drive and start in first. Fernando Alonso has just said what I have been saying for the last 2 years. My point has been proven by a 2-time world champion. Yes.
Yeah, but Lewis has 42 wins, not starting first. And
yeah, okay.
He has like 27.
And how many of those were like second?
So it's like, yeah.
Stop defending Hamilton. Oh my god.
Hamilton started at the back of the grid in Brazil and he still went on to win. So
yeah, but it took him a sprint race as well.
Yeah. Well, what about Hockenheim in 2019 or something? Or 2018?
It wasn't 2019 when they had the massive pit stop problem. not the best example there, mate.
But Hamilton started like 12th or something, and then Valtteri James.
Oh yeah,
to win.
Yeah, because you know Valtteri James.
Yeah.
But I mean, what was I going to say? Oh, that was it. Max is the first driver since like Bruce McLaren to win successive races from P10 or lower. Something that Hamilton's never done. And people are saying, oh, but Hamilton's never had to start outside the top 10 on 2 occasions in a row. He probably has. Probably in that year when he was in a dog of a McLaren.
Yeah, it's 2009.
Yeah.
At the start.
I'd imagine he probably had a couple of P10 or lower qualies in that year.
Yeah, well, in his first race, he got disqualified in qualifying. So
that's definitely outside the top 10.
Yeah.
But no, it's I mean, it's a fantastic stat. It shows A, how good of a driver Max is, and B, how dominant that Red Bull car is.
Feels like Thanos.
Like, inevitable.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I was watching the WTF1's post-quali pod as they were doing it live on Twitch, and they did a poll of like, who do you think is going to win? Sainz, Leclerc, Verstappen, Perez, or other? And Verstappen was like 70% of the votes.
Yeah. Even George said Verstappen's still going to win the race. Lo and behold,
he did.
He did. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, on my F1 play, I did predict Verstappen to win.
He's just another level.
Yeah. Probably would have been a really good week to Mega Driver him.
Yeah.
Damn. Positions gained. Oh well.
Yeah, it's a perfect mix of a quality driver and a quality car.
Yeah.
So then people can say, oh, he's only winning because he's got the fastest car.
Yeah, and then you'll have to turn around and say about that, about Hamilton, about Alonso, about Schumacher. You can say it about everyone. And that is fine.
Drivers on the grid, they get the best car for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, you saw it with Hamilton, didn't you? He was in Mercedes. It wasn't going well. Sorry, he was in Mercedes. He was in McLaren. It wasn't going well. He jumped ship. He joined Mercedes. And lo and behold, he won a metric ton of championships and races.
Yeah.
It's simple.
We could be in the Verstappen era.
Yeah. As much as everyone, as much as the Lewis Hamilton fan base like to denounce last year's championship,
Be back.
There's no denying this.
Next year is our year.
If you think you've seen the best of me, yikes. Poorly aged tweets, please. I mean, oh well. They'll probably come out. I mean, they've definitely improved since the start of the year of Mercedes, but I mean,
still a long way to go.
Yeah, even Ferrari are closer to Red Bull than that. But that's definitely, they've closed the gap to Ferrari at least.
Yeah,
good old Mercedes P3. Well done.
Can't tell if they've closed the gap or Ferrari's just somehow got worse.
Well, no, they've closed the gap because Ferrari just haven't moved forwards. But yeah, madness. I mean, Max finished almost 27 seconds ahead of Carlos. And Carlos started first.
Max should have pit for fastest lap. Kill. He would have if he was in a Ferrari.
Yeah, that's the point. They said earlier in the broadcast it was about 19 seconds that you lose when you come in for a pit. And they're like, oh, look, Leclerc's coming in. And you look at the timing tower and it's like 19 seconds to Alonso. And you're thinking, what? Not ideal. Obviously lost the position, got it back on the last lap to then lose it in a post-race penalty because he was speeding in the pit lane by 1 kilometer an hour. Did 81 in an 80.
To then not even get anywhere close to the fastest lap as well.
Yeah, no, 0.6 off. He also didn't get any penalty points on his license.
Whoa.
He just got the 5-second time penalty. Double standards by the FIA. No, I'm kidding. They often don't give it for that, but I don't understand why.
Yeah, Bottas is still the unluckiest driver in the world.
I mean, he got an early birthday, rest.
Yeah, shout out to the fans. They were singing happy birthday to him.
Top notch, that.
Yeah, that's quality. That's beautiful.
And we can completely blame that on Latifi.
Yeah.
Who, once again, has proven his lack of deserving for the Formula One Williams seat.
Williams said that Latifi's got these 3 races in Europe.
Oh, they're going to announce something after that.
Yeah, I think they're saying something as like Latifi's got, they were happy with him and he's got these 3 races to go on and prove.
I think they're going to get rid of him.
So
I think Jost Capitel's made a cheeky phone call to Danny Rick.
Yeah, they wouldn't surprise me. But then I still think De Vries and that is there.
I don't know. De Vries is older than some of the other prospects. I know Danny's older than De Vries, but I'm talking earlier in the season when Piastri was linked with Williams. You're looking at Piastri who's 21 or however old he is. Is he 21? He's 21, isn't he? And then De Vries is 27. So you'd rather take Piastri because you've got an extra 6 years of youth.
They're probably also looking at Mick. That'd be quite fun to see Mick. And
I would like to see Mick in a Williams.
That'd be beautiful.
Especially seeing his uncle drove for a Williams for a while.
Yeah. Which
is something I think people often forget. Ralph was a Formula One driver as well.
Didn't someone had a go at him, I think, and saying that his career wasn't much or something like that. I can't remember who it was.
Well, he's probably got more of a career than they ever had.
Yeah. I remember seeing that. It was they showed his stats or something.
Race wins.
Yeah.
He has I think he has 6 race wins. but that was, he was in Williams in like the early 2000s when Williams were quite good.
Yeah, he rubbed Jensen's seat.
That was the first time the contract recognition board was used. Speaking of the contract recognition board, we haven't heard anything about the Oscar Piastri debacle. The hearing was today. That's all we know.
Yeah.
All that we've been told is that the board of the contract recognition people met today to hear the situation, and we've had nothing since. So I presume we might hear something this weekend, maybe next week. I don't know how quickly these things are resolved. I presume Alpine have just taken their contract with Piastri and just dumped it on the table and gone, here's what he signed. Which Otmar seems to think is pretty bulletproof, actually.
Yeah, and then it's sort of funny because McLaren have taken the route of, well, Otmar's been in sticky situations in the past and he's not done well in them, so...
Well, we'll soon have to find out, won't we? I mean, would it be more awkward if Piastri was then forced to race for Alpine?
I don't think, but then they still just break the contract if they don't want him.
True, but they obviously do because they've put that much money in him.
Yeah, but now they're saying that they want Gasly the most.
I mean, I would rather have Pierre, but at the same time, Pierre and Esteban don't really get on, or at least they haven't in the past.
Yeah, it should be all right.
Tell them to get over it.
Yeah.
But
up your ideas.
Yeah.
Otmar should put his foot down. If he has one.
Right.
It's the transfer merry-go-round.
It really is. Do we just want to skip on to Formula 2 now? Actually, no, we'll do prediction results. That's a good idea.
McLaren. Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
Not good enough.
I mean, I'm still sad about it.
Yeah.
Trying not to cry myself to sleep at night. It's fine. Right. Prediction results. Ben, you got 2 points. Chris got 3 points. Nia got no points. I got 3 points. Sonia won this week with 4 points.
Absolute masterstroke.
Yeah. And Elza from Chris's group chat thing that he's got won with 6 points from the socials. Ben, your bold prediction, Hamilton victory? No. Chris's bold prediction, 2 safety cars? No. My bold prediction, Russell pole by over half a second? No. It was pole by over half a second, but it wasn't George. Sad noises. Lap down showdown. Ben, you were kind of closest. We all got the driver wrong.
Wow.
Unsurprisingly. It was Latifi this week. It was on like lap 40 something. And obviously he then finished 1 lap down. Ben, you said 32, so you were closest on lap. Everyone said 1 lap down. So yeah, you've won.
It's not really doesn't feel like a victory, but
it's the cheapest way to win. Let's put it that way. The technicality win. Right, this weekend. Do you want to do the predictions now or save those for later?
Same for later.
All right, let's do F2 now then.
Let's get for it.
Formula 2.
Lawson wins.
Yeah. Lawson won the sprint race. Lawson came 3rd in the feature race. And Lawson had an FP1 outing with AlphaTauri.
He's had a very fun weekend.
He has had a great weekend. I would love an FP1 outing around Spa.
Yeah.
So obviously now that the other driver that was in the Red Bull Driver Academy is no longer in the Red Bull Driver Academy, it seems to be Liam Lawson is the favourite now.
Yeah.
Understandably so. He is actually doing better in the driver standings. He's still a long way off the lead of the championship, but you know, he's in 5th, better than 10th. I mean, it was quite a good weekend for Formula 2. I don't know how much of it you saw. I saw most of the sprint race, and then
since that
saw the highlights of the feature.
It was interesting to see how they're going to deal with all the gravel traps, especially in the sprint, considering that was like the first one I've seen of a race using the new. Well, it's not really the new layout, but like.
Well, technically, it will count as a new layout because the circuit map's been changed. So
yeah, that's a new layout though. But yeah, it's interesting how they're going to go around turn 1.
It was. I think they showed a clip of it on the F1 broadcast of when someone sort of got a little bit too far, pushed out a little bit too far onto, and they had like one rear wheel in the gravel, and they just went backwards. They lost easily like 3 or 4 places before we even got to Eau Rouge. So yeah, I mean, it was. I feel like it's always going to be harder for the support series when track changes happen because they have to go first.
Yeah,
and they have no like pre-existing knowledge of or no examples to look at. Whereas F1 can, I know that it's a completely different spec of car and that, but you can still see how people are going through corners. And they will have known that like don't get pushed wide is the way to go.
Yeah, it's very much keep out of danger.
Yeah, keep your nose clean.
And then get the toe.
No heroics into La Source, please. It's that age-old adage of you don't win a race on lap 1, but you can lose it. But yeah, no, it was a good weekend for Formula 3. Where are they off to next? They're off to oh my god, it's a triple header of triple headers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is going to be a busy schedule. So we've got F2 with us at Zandvoort and Monza, and F3 with us at Zandvoort and Monza.
But that's where F3 finishes at Monza.
Yeah, F3 finishes there, but then F2 has the last round over a month later in Yas Marina.
Yeah, but was F3 always finishing at Monza, or did honestly one got cancelled in there and then they?
I don't know, but we're now up to 38 drivers in the championship for Formula 3.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so Formula 2 will be joining us again this weekend. I feel like that, I don't know, the cars are smaller, so it makes me feel more promising about it. The racing was okay last year, but at the same time, it was still a bit processional. I'm not the biggest fan of Zandvoort.
No, I don't like it in the game. In real life.
No, I suck at it in the game. I won't lie. I haven't even done it on F1 22 yet. I'm not that far in my campaign.
Well, I haven't played it for ages. Unless that I will.
Yeah, no.
F1 Manager is quite fun.
Yeah.
I don't have to drive.
It looks a lot better as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So my dream game would be if they combined the two.
Yeah.
And you could drive or you could manage. There's a manager mode in FIFA, or you can play as a player in FIFA. Why have we got 2 separate games? Money. I mean, I'm not complaining. They're both good games for what they are. I mean, the driving game still has room for improvement.
It's a lot of room.
Yes. But the manager game is, considering it's the first one from this company, I know there was like F1 Manager 96 or something ridiculous. But, you know, the first modern F1 manager game, I feel like it's off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, it's off to a good start. Then it's.
I feel like it also benefits from the fact that it has F3 in it as well.
Yeah. And all the reserve
which is
drivers.
something the F1 game could learn a lot from.
Yeah, even if you don't get the cars, just get the drivers.
Yeah, like just for the my team aspect.
Yeah.
Being able to have, because once the F2 drivers have come and gone, then it's just kind of meh, you know?
Yeah.
Like you get to a certain point and it's just F2 drivers. There's no one really new, or they've like made up people. It's like, why make up people when there are perfectly suitable candidates in Formula 3? And I know that it's a licensing agreement. You can't use names or likes without, paying money, but it's EA.
Yeah, they should just
They're not short on cash.
They should do what Pez used to do and sort of like make up the names.
Yeah.
But make it like
obvious. Make it decidedly obvious, like Manchester Reds.
Yeah.
Who could that be? But yeah, I mean, understandable, but annoying. Formula 3.
Yeah.
Good weekend for Behrman and Stanek. 2 podiums for each of them. It means that the top of the standings is extremely interesting now. With just 2 rounds left, there are 5 points separating the top 4.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Behrman's starting to find form as well.
Yes. Out of the top 4, Behrman is on a charge.
Hadjar's very much fallen off.
Yeah. So is Victor Martins, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
he's been off it for a while. It looks like he's had like those 2 wins early on in the season, and then it's just kind of been meh since. He had a second place in Spielberg, but yeah, and then you look at Behrman, and he's had a 3rd place in Silverstone, a 3rd place in Spielberg, a 3rd place in Budapest, and then a sprint win and a 3rd place here. And he's on a run of form. Yeah. Do we reckon he's going to get 3rd in the feature race this time around as well and make it 4 in a row?
Well, it's already 4 in a row. He got
5 in a row. Yes.
Yeah.
Can he get the 5 for 3rds?
5. That is what I'll be looking out for.
Oh God. But yeah, no, that's going to be an interesting close to the season with just 4 races left. Obviously 2 sprints, 2 features. And just 5 points.
5 drivers.
Yeah, I'd say Stanek's in with a shout.
Just 10 points off.
I will say it really will depend on how this weekend goes for him. If he doesn't have a good weekend this weekend, I'd say it's game over.
Yeah, he needs to have a solid weekend. But yeah, it's been a bit inconsistent.
Yeah. I mean, he's had a couple of big points hauls, but then also he's had a couple of weekends where he's just scored like single digits.
Stinkers.
But then again, you look anywhere else on the grid and so's everyone else.
Yeah.
Like you look at the championship leader, Hadjar, he's had the last 2 rounds, he's only got single digits.
And Gregor Saucy is left in 17th.
So much for the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine champion.
Yeah.
Yeesh. He's only scored in 2 races. Nice. And the rest have been blanks.
At least one of them's been 3rd, so
yeah, got a podium. And that's it. Not ideal. No. Not when another person from your championship is leading the Formula 3 championship.
Is that Charlie's son? Is that right? Or is it son?
What, Enzo Trilli?
Yeah. He needs to buck up his ideas, doesn't he?
Yes.
Should get on to Yano.
So, I mean, we had a Mansell on the grid this weekend. So, but yeah, I feel like Formula 3 is probably the one to watch over the next couple of weekends, just because it is that close.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'm quite happy to say that Formula 1 is done and dusted in the race for the championship.
Yeah, F2 is pretty much sort of is as well.
F2's heading that way. He's
Drogovic
43 points clear at the top with 3 rounds left. That's going to take a hell of a swing. And it has to be from Porsche, really, doesn't it? Otherwise, you're looking at almost an 80-point gap to Logan Sargent, who could be in with a shout for that Williams seat.
Yeah, but then
because he's getting the FP1 session at Kota.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I'd be, I'd be keeping an eye on him for an announcement from Williams, to be honest. I think he might be the one that they go for. Right. Let's do this weekend then, shall we? Seeing as we've kind of alluded to it with Formula 2 and Formula 3 coming along. Ben, pole position.
It's Max Verstappen, isn't it?
And unsurprisingly, everyone else has said Verstappen. Except for one person on social media who has said Leclerc. Mason went for Verstappen, Tay went for Leclerc, and Wolf went for Verstappen. Ben, podium.
Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz.
Alexei. Amazingly, none of us have got the same podium.
Ooh.
So you've gone Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz. Chris has gone Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton. Nia has gone Verstappen, Sainz, Russell. I have gone for Verstappen, Perez, Sainz. And Sonia has gone for Verstappen, Russell, Perez. And I saw a stat earlier that kind of shocked me, surprised me, but also then compounded my misery for Ferrari. In the last 9 races, which, by the way, is all the way back to Spain, Sainz has finished ahead of Leclerc.
Oh, dearie me.
Not good. But is what it is. Bold prediction?
I've got Bottas to be best of the rest.
So that's what, P7-ish?
Yeah, just behind the Ferraris, Red Bulls, and Mercedes.
Yeah. Obviously, if anyone DNFs, he'll finish up a bit, but I get what you mean. Because we say like F1.5, but then if someone we had a Lando podium, didn't we? So
it's very much Alpine have took over Formula 1.5 and taken it by storm.
Yeah. Which is kind of why it amuses me as Piastri is just buoyed off Alpine. It's like that's currently probably the 4th best seat.
And you still look at Alpine or McLaren, who's most likely to go for a championship.
I mean, at this point, yeah, exactly. At this point, I say neither, but Alpine might give you a chance at a podium next year. I don't feel the same way for McLaren.
I think with McLaren, you're looking at 2026 now, is it? They change again?
Yeah, that's the engine reg change.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Chris has gone for Perez to crash out. Nia has gone for a double Alpine DNF. What do I want to go for? I'm going to go for... I don't want to contradict my predictions. Shall I do a bold prediction of Ferrari don't screw Leclerc?
That is bold.
I'm going for it.
That is bold.
So we'll say Ferrari perfect plan.
That's
for
very
Leclerc.
bold.
And he's still going to finish fourth. That's because of my
I
podium science is third. So that's my prediction.
Perfect.
Hey, look, if that's the best he can get feasibly. That was the thing.
He's very much off the pace.
When Max was in first and Charles was still like climbing through, I think it was like sixth or seventh at the time. And they were like, yeah, we're hoping for a P5 finish. And it's like, oh my God. What?
That is when they're on about pitting and then Leclerc's like, no, stay now.
Yeah. I mean, I get that they're trying to sort out their strategy, but you should be doing that before the race, not broadcasting your entire strategy conversation to the world. So yeah, bit nuts. So let's see if Ferrari can pull it off this weekend. Social media, I alluded to earlier. Mason, Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz. Tay, Verstappen, Russell, Sainz. And Der Wolf has gone very bold with Verstappen and everybody else to DNF because they can't see through the orange smoke.
Yes, I wouldn't say that's bold. It's probably quite clever, actually.
It's possible. I mean, whether it'll happen or we'll see. Depends which way the wind's blowing.
Yeah, I'll take that as a McLaren 2-3 then. It's just orange smoke everywhere.
If it's orange, it's McLaren. Lap down showdown. There's 72 laps of this particularly short and twisty circuit. Who are you going for?
Latifi.
Wow. What lap?
Lap 35.
35, okay.
2 laps down.
2 laps down, okay. Chris went for Latifi. Lap 48, 1 lap down. Nia went for Latifi.
Yay.
Lap 30, but still only 1 lap down. And I have gone for Latifi. Lap 42 and 1 lap down.
No one's pulled out the Stroll card this week.
No, amazingly not.
It's a shame.
I feel like Aston Martin's performance this weekend have kind of allowed him to escape the hook this week.
I mean, it also helps that he's never been lapped first.
I think there was one time where he was.
Really?
It was probably the week that nobody picked him. So.
Has Stroll. What am I on about? Has Stroll runaways? I get how the third one is. Has Stroll crashed today?
Right. Anything else we cover? The F1 fantasy is going badly. My triple entry is going significantly better than my single entry. I am now almost 200 points behind Ben. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
But in the triple entry, I am ahead of you.
Yeah, I haven't even used a Mega Drive either this year.
I'm ahead of you by 113 points in the triple entry. And I'm second in the league. And there's, how many are there? 41 teams. I'm quite chuffed with that. I'm not going to lie.
I'm really annoyed that I forgot to use my Mega Drive.
F1 play, nobody else bothered to enter. I got 7 out of 10. I was quite chuffed for that. I was also very gutted because I thought I had 8, but I forgot that they'd put Seb Vettel in the Q2 section. And I'd selected Albon. And I knew that Stroll was in it. So, and I knew Stroll was right behind Albon. So I was willing Albon over the line in the hopes that it was going to give me the 8th point. But Seb was already further up the road.
You're in the top 3.1%.
I know. I had a very good week.
No one got 10 either.
Or it's such a fine amount of people that it doesn't show up to 2 decimal places. I feel like considering I got 7 out of 10 and I'm normally abysmal, I feel like someone might have got 10.
It just says 0%.
Yeah. They do like an announcement when someone wins. So it would say on like the front page.
Nobody's won.
Once they've announced who it is, once they've come forward and said, yes, it's me. I was going to say it's probably going to be a Max Verstappen fan, isn't it? Who's selected Lewis to be his first retirement.
Yeah, it's probably.
So yeah, I'm quite chuffed with that. That's the best I've done ever. I think it's the best anyone on the pod's done ever. So we'll take that. I think that's all for this week, don't you? We can't really do anything with the transfer because nothing's been announced. Naturally, that'll be tomorrow.
Audi are joining.
Oh, yes.
2026, but that's engine.
Yes, engine provider. But they already fired shots at Mercedes.
Yeah, that's quite funny.
I did enjoy that by saying that they would be the first Formula One engine manufacturer to be manufactured in Germany for quite some time.
They're expected to take over the Sauber team, which currently runs as Alfa Romeo.
Yes, and that deal is coming to an end at the end of next year.
So,
and they've announced, Alfa Romeo have announced that they're not renewing it. So that team will change name for 2024.
Wow.
So we could see Sauber back for 2 years, or we could see Audi come in early and just be title sponsor for 2 years and then put the engine in 2026.
Yeah.
But we'll see. They haven't announced which team they're taking over, but that is the firm favourite. I say taking over, providing engines for.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry, I just read a tweet about F1 Manager. F1 Manager looks good, but every single video I see of the incidents are the exact same.
Yeah, they are. They're always a lock-up.
Oh, well.
Even when it's a crash, it's a car locking up to then crash into another car. But it creates drama.
It's the Pasta Maldonado search. Yeah, so we will see you again at the same time next week for our Zandvoort review and our Monza predictions, where I'm sure Chris will remind us that he is off to Monza.
Yeah.
So until then, thank you for listening and or watching. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, rate 5 stars, all the usual shebang, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.